Kenyans are asking that the country's name be changed to Raila Odinga. That is how good this man is. I don't know if politicians are blind. Most politicians will not see this thing now. This is what happens when you are good to the people. This is what happens when the people love you. When you are not manipulative. When you are not only interested in what will favor you. This is what happens when you put the people's interest at heart. Kenyans are asking that the country should be renamed after Raila Odinga. That is how good, that is how wonderful this man is. That is, you can see the extent where people love him. Kenyans are mourning. Kenyans are crying. If you're a politician out there, ask yourself, if I should die today, if I should pass on today, will these people mourn me? Will they be sad that I passed on? Some of you don't know that people are watching, people are seeing. Anything you are doing, people are watching you. People know when you have them at heart. People know when you love them and genuinely want to do things for them. The people are not blind. The people are wise. They are not blind. They are not foolish. If you're a wicked politician and you die, nobody is going to mourn you. Nobody is going to shed a tear for you. They will thank God. They will be like, oh God, thank you for taking this wicked man away. So it is good to be good. Since yesterday, Kenyans are not breathing fine. Kenyans are not happy at all because of one man. Because one man died, a good man died. So as a politician, don't say that, oh, there's nothing you will do that the people will love you. If the people see that you have their best interests at heart and you are fighting for what will benefit them, they are going to love you genuinely. They are going to stand by you. The people are not foolish. The people are not blind. The love that Kenyans have for this man have shown me that yes, politicians can be loved. Politicians can be loved. If you're a politician, ask yourself, if I should pass on today, what will the people be saying about me? Because as a person, what lives on is your legacy.
Sisi tumeamka huku hivi Amerika asubuhi tukasikia ati Raila wetu amekufa. Maiwe inauma. Duwe langu langa Raila. Ya wewe. Duwe langu langa Raila. Duwe ngasaya kulinde. Raila.
Yes, Kenya. On behalf of my small little country of Jamaica, man, we would like to send again our sincere condolences for the loss of Baba, the one you call father, Raila Odinga. You feel me? I don't know if y'all seen, I know y'all seen Vibes. I don't know if y'all seen Luciano. You know what I mean? Sending the respect and love and admiration for Baba. You know what I mean? Who was Baba? This little video takes that little trip. You know what I mean? For the world, we know Kenyans know who he was, but for the world, who was Baba? Who was Raila Odinga?
I want to tell you about a man, millions, called Baba. Raila Amolo Odinga, loved, feared, respected, debated, but always present. Kenya's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has died at 80 while in India for medical treatment. The reports say he suffered a heart attack in Kerala. And in Kenya, the grief has been massive. Stadium streets filled to say goodbye, tears, songs, stories, decades of them. Security forces fired shots to disperse the huge crowds. People were hurt and lives were lost, according to local and international outlets. That's how intense the mourning is. But who was Raila Odinga? Before the chants, before the rallies, before the legend. He was born on January 7, 1945, in Maseno, in western Kenya, son of Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Kenya's first vice president. Politics wasn't just in the house, it was the house. At 17, he left Kenya for East Germany, Herder Institute in Leipzig to learn German, Technical University of Magdeburg, Masters in Mechanical Engineering, 1970. Yes, before the speeches, there were machines. When he returned home, the country was changing, and so did he. He became a central figure in the fight for multi-party democracy. He pushed for a new constitution, he organized, he protested, he endured. Over 4 decades he helped shape Kenya's modern democracy. He also chased the highest office 5 times, won. Each time, he said the vote wasn't fair. Each time, the country held its breath. He never became president, but he did become prime minister, and he never stopped being the opposition's loudest voice.
Won't be back for many a day. My heart is down, my head is turning around.
If you want to understand why Kenyans are heavily mourning the late former Prime Minister, Right Honorable Raila Odinga Amolo, you need to watch this video, because it actually all starts from back with his father. What I read about it, the late Raila Odinga was born by a gentleman known as Jaramogi Oginga Odinga and a lady known as Mary Juma Odinga. For those of you who don't know, actually, his father was the first vice president of Kenya. His father at first was very good friends with who? With Jomo Kenyatta, who was the first president of Kenya. So, in the 1960s, as Kenya was pushing for independence, the British wanted to give independence, but without any form of transparency. And so they approached Jaramogi and wanted him to receive Kenya's independence. But he said, I cannot do that when Jomo Kenyatta is still imprisoned, because Jomo Kenyatta was then the most influential person in this freedom fighting thing. Now, you guys remember I made the story of Tom Mboya, and guys, it all makes sense. Gama Pinto was Jaramogi's best friend. But now, how do problems come in between Jaramogi and Jomo Kenyatta? After independence, obviously, Jomo Kenyatta is the president, Jaramogi is made the vice president. But now, this land grabbing, I need to tell you guys, when I bring Jomo Kenyatta's story, he had promised to get all this land from the British and redistribute it to the Africans, which he didn't. Right now, his family owns over 500,000 acres of arable land, just arable land for agriculture here in Kenya. So Jaramogi, after all this, is like, bro, this is not what we said. We said we are going to get independence and you're going to help the people. Jomo Kenyatta is like, bruh, you don't want to question my authority. Now, I need to tell you, Jomo Kenyatta was a Kikuyu and Jaramogi was a what? Was a Luo. And guys, Kenya gained independence in 1963, but in 1966, 3 years after Jaramogi resigned from being vice president. So, that is when the former president, Daniel Arap Moi, is brought in as the new vice president. Are you following? Now, the late Raila Odinga is actually born in 1945 on 7th January in Kisumu. And even Jaramogi was actually initially from what? From Kisumu. So Jaramogi stepped down from the KANU party, which they had with what? With Jomo Kenyatta, and then formed the Kenya People's Union, the KPU, formed another political party. However, in the 1980s, when Daniel Arap Moi took over power, he abolished all the other political.
Leo zimesikia Raila ameenda. Wale watu ambao wanaumia, hata wale waheshimiwa ambao wataumia, ambao walikuwa wanakaa kwa koti yake.
Kina nani hao?
Wengi mimi nakwambia. Ukiona watu wengine wanalia, msifikiri atu wanalia tu, anajua shida imeingia. Mnaelewa? Kwa hivyo yeye kwenda ameenda na wengi. Ni kama ile maji ya mtu ambaye imetoka mtoni inabeba takataka yote. Iko shida bwana mbele. Shida kubwa. Kwa hivyo ukiona watu wanalia, shida iko mbele. Kwa hivyo sisi tunaombea tu Mungu amweke Raila mahali pema peponi.
Coming to talk about my dear husband, Raila Amolo Odinga. I first met Raila way back in the early 70s, and we got married in 1973. For that reason, I've lived with this man for 52 years. Many of the people that I see or who are in this stadium could have easily be our children. No wonder you call him Baba. That name did not come from nowhere, but came from the experience and the life that he has lived with and relationship that he has had with some of these people. During our union, we were blessed by 4 children. First, the first child was called Fidel Castro Odhiambo Odinga. When Fidel was born, I was a bit hesitant the way he gives the name. I said, why do you call him Fidel? Then he said he was a great admirer of Fidel Castro, and therefore he named his first child Fidel Castro Odinga. Later, we had the second child, Rosemary, and here again, Rose is the name of my mother, and Mary is the name of his mother. We combined the 2 names together, and we called the child Rosemary. It also has a meaning to us. When it came to the third one, and he named after his best friend and his cousin called Raila Kembo, with whom they shared the name. So we ended up with Raila Oginga Odinga. Last, there was a big gap, and I'll explain to you. Last came the 4th child. The 4th child, when I went to the hospital, and you know those mothers, you end up somewhere in labor ward. And I was watching the television. And on the television, that's the time when Nelson Mandela had come out of prison. It was he's been there for 27 years. Raila also had been in prison, but that's not why we named her Winnie. And I was watching the television, I could see Nelson Mandela and Winnie Mandela holding hands as Mandela walked out of the gates of the prison. By then, I didn't know what kind of child I was going to get. But then I said, if it's a boy, we'll name him Wilson Mandela. But if it's a girl, will be Winnie Mandela. And therefore, Winnie Mandela arrived. And that's the 4th child. I see when you look at this naming of the children, I know these days you can name your child anything that you want, but I'll appeal to those who are still having babies. Give your child a meaningful name, because you name them people you never saw, you never heard of, simply because it saw the name written somewhere. There's nothing wrong with giving our children the names of the people who in our lives we think are the heroes. Our life was not smooth life. Just like any other family, there's been ups and downs. But as we continue living together, we've learned how to cope, because we all have weaknesses and strengths. We learned to talk straight to one another. We learned to speak the truth, and we learned to forgive and move on. Now, that forgiving spirit was not only in the home, but is something that has spread to the Kenyan. You've seen how many times he has tried in the elections, but that forgiveness is paramount. So please don't carry grudges from one generation to another and from one group to another. We are all Kenyans. We are all Kenyans. We are sisters and brothers. we must learn to forgive easily and build together Kenya. Towards the end, I'll not say everything. I would like to say everything, but time would not allow. And a span of 52 years is not a short time. I hope that when I get another opportunity on Sunday, I'll be able to say more. But one thing that he kept on repeating to me is that we must urge Kenyans to live in peace. He kept on repeating that. We must repeat it to our Kenyans, we live in peace. Raila hated dishonesty. He hated dishonesty. He hated greed. The greed that have affected the main fabric of our society. The greed that leads to stealing from the public coffers. The greed that leads to corruptions. That's the kind of thing that Raila would not have liked to see. So, you people, you Kenyans, I'll tell you more. But I thank you, those who have come and those who are watching us from other places. I thank you for standing with this family. I thank you for being here for us. And I thank you for helping us to mourn Raila. May his soul lie in eternal peace. And
kwa jina mimi naitwa Mark Osinde, M-A-R-K-O-S-I-N-D-I. Ujumbe nimekuja naye katika sehemu hii. Kristo mwenyewe alikuja kama mwishi. Anatumbanga mimi kila siku, hata mbele inchi zingine mimi naendanga, na leo amemwambia mimi ujumbe ambaye nimelete, Raila atasikwa. Tena narudia, Raila atasikwa, atamuka, na hata wale waliokufa atafufuka moja. Hivyo ndio watu tajua kweli maandiko ni ukweli. Ndio watu tajua wao wahubiri wamepita Yesu namna gani. Hao ni watafuta pesa kwa jina la Yesu. Kwa hivyo nitaongea siku ya Jumapili.
Kina nani watafufuka pamoja na Raila?
Nimekisasema Raila baba yake na Fidel Tombo ya Urukudio Makasembo, Jomo Kenyatta. Unasikia? Jomo Kenyatta, Moi, Kibaki, J.M. Kariuki.
Watafufuka lini?
Jumapili watu taona ile ya ajabu bado jaonekana. Ndio sababu nimekuja. Ndio watu tajua Yesu ndio Bwana, ndio Mungu. Hiyo jumbe yote mimi naleta sio mimi. Nimetumwa na watu wa Kenya, wanachukua maneno yangu na wanasoma internet na wanachukua. Hii ndio ukweli imetokea. Na wewe bila umesika, wewe pia mali popote sema Kristo, nimepokea wewe Mungu wangu, nione ufalme wako.
Sasa wakati atafufuka atafanya nini na wale watu wengine?
Yani ndio ujumbe, hatarudi kwa masisi tena. Unasikia? Biblia nasema kuna wengine watafufuka moja ndio nitakuja na ufalme wangu. Hapo hakuna mhubiri nasema, hata mapasta. Tena imeandikwa kuna wale wengine hatagusa kifo. Hakuna mwingine, kifo ndio njia. Ndio sababu Bwana ametuma mimi.
Sasa huyu Bwana ambaye amekutuma, alikutuma kwa njia gani? Ulizungumza naye?
Yani hata saa hii mimi naongea na wewe, yeye iko hapa. Yeye iko nami. Hata male mimi nakwendaga, yeye iko nami. Kama bila yeye mimi naendaga hata nchi ya wazungu. Si mikuki yangu na kila kitu yangu, serikali iko naye. Na walistuka tu kama mimi iko naye Mombasa.
So umeambiwa ya kwamba ukuje ulete huu ujumbe hapa kwa Raila kwamba hatazikwa.
Hatazikwa. Hiyo ndio ukweli, atatoka katika nchi ya Afrika. Na tena nina maneno baada ya hiyo mimi kusema sahihi.
Na iwapo atazikwa,
hakuna, yani Raila hatasikwa, atafufuka na pia atarudi kama mwaka 30, sio ile Raila walikuwa naona.
Atarudi kwa mchanga. Atarudi kwa mdogo yani.
Atarudi kwa mdogo na sio yeye peke yake. Hiyo ndio Bwana ametuma mimi. Mimi ndio huyo, hata naenda kwa inchi pori. Mimi naongea hata manyama. Hakuna kitu nagusa mimi. Asante. Na hawaoni mimi.
Nashukuru sana. Wacha tusubiri hiyo Jumapili. Asante.
Wewe kila mtu ajue, ndio utajua kweli iko wapi.
So atafufuka saa 4.
Saa 4.
Okay.
Asante. Na siku ya Jumapili hiyo nyinyi taona dalili ambaye utajua kweli Yesu Kristo ametuma makosende.
Asante.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, and our First Lady Mama Rachel, and all protocols observed. I have a very heavy heart to say farewell to my dear brother. Raila was more than a brother to me. He was my friend. He was my age mate. He was my advisor, and he was my confidant, and he was everything, including business partnership. We grew up together more or less as twins, because the difference between me and my brother is only 1 year and 2 months. And unfortunately, my brother passed on my birthday, which is 15th October 1943. When we were growing together with my brother, we were in Bondo in Sakwa, though we were born in Maseno. But during that time, we were only 3 boys, and our mother was a disciplinarian more than our father. But my brother Raila knew how to cook. Our father's mother told us that you, my boys, you are also my girls. You must learn to fetch firewood. You must learn to cook. You must learn to prepare everything, including washing clothes and ironing and so on. Raila was best at all those things. The other thing Raila was best at was in class. Me, I was average. I could be number 5, number 4, number 3 sometimes if I did well. But Raila was always number 1. He was always number 1 in class. And I also want to tell you that Raila was a sportsman. He was a sportsman. He used to do what we were calling triple jump. He used to play football, and he used to do pole vault. But I was better than him in jumping and in pole vault. I want to tell you that my brother loved justice from the beginning. He loved to hear news. And one day he was late in school, and when the teacher asked him what he was doing, he said he was still listening to the radio. He wanted to hear news. And he was only at standard 3, standard 4. So Raila was a no-nonsense man. He entertained no mediocrity. Raila did not want mediocrity. If you came across him with lies or something mediocre, his left hand was very fast. He could give you something to teach you a lesson that you must always be truthful. He protected me and my brother, the late Agola, because he was more brave in confronting anybody who attacked us. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you the story of Raila the whole day, but that is not my intention today. My intention is to tell you that even though my brother was almost the same age as me, but younger than me, I can tell you that I respected him as my leader in the political arena. And I want to thank my party, ODM, for making me the acting party leader of ODM, the oldest and the largest party in East and Central Africa. I will take that mantle with vigor, and I must assure you, my colleagues, that I will not disappoint. Even though the shoes of Raila are too big.
Raila Odinga kufa. Mimi ni mmoja kijana ambaye nimehuzunishwa sana na kifo chake, kwa sababu mimi ni Mtanzania, lakini moja ya speech ya Raila Odinga narudia, yani zewe alivyoongea yeye. Sawa? Yeye alisema alishawahi kuwa Mtanzania. Alishawahi kuwa Mtanzania na sababu iliyofanya awe Mtanzania ilikuwa ni hii hapa. Raila Odinga alikuwa anataka kwenda Marekani. Ulaya, sijui ndo Marekani ndo Ulaya huko. Serikali ya kikoloni ambayo ilikuwepo Kenya ilimkatalia kumpa pasipoti. Sawa? Baba yake Raila Odinga akasema nenda Tanzania. Sawa? So Raila Odinga akafunga safari ya kutoka Kenya, akapita Namanga, akaingia Tanzania kwa kutumia basi. Sawa? Narudia alivyosema yeye. Akaingia hapa Tanzania, akapelekwa kwenye hoteli nzuri tu. Akakaa, akatolewa kwenye ile hoteli, akapokelewa vizuri, akapelekwa hoteli nyingine hapa Dar es Salaam. Baada hapo akakutana na Mheshimiwa Rais Julius Kambarage Nyerere, ambaye ndo baba yetu wa taifa sisi hapa Tanzania. Baada ya kukutana naye, anasema alinitunza kama baba yangu aliyenizaa. Sawa? Alimtunza Raila Odinga kama baba yake aliyemzaa. Kipindi hicho Raila Odinga alisema na miaka ngapi? Miaka 16 sijui alisema. Miaka 16 ni umri mdogo, sio mtu mzima, ni mdogo. Baada hapo akapewa passport ya Tanzania, ndio ikamruhusu kwenda Marekani, sijui ndo Ulaya. Kwa hiyo kule Marekani sijui Ulaya aliishi kama Mtanzania, hakuishi kama Mkenya. So kifo, maana yangu nini? Kifo cha Raila Odinga, tumefiwa mataifa mawili. Yaani mataifa mawili ndo tumefiwa sana, kwa sababu Raila Odinga ashawahi kuwa Mtanzania. Sawa? Na alikuwa Mtanzania na anakuambia anapenda sana Tanzania. Kwenye ile speech, tumefiwa Tanzania na Kenya. Huo msiba ni wetu sote. Na mimi pia nipo kwenye moja kati ya watu ambao ni wahanga. Mimi Raila Odinga nilikuwa napenda sana speech zake, na kama mnavyonijua mimi ni mtu ambaye napenda sana kufuatilia mambo ya Kenya. So ni hivyo. Sio umbea, lakini ndo mtandao ndo uko hivyo saizi. Unafuatilia mambo yote unayotaka. So mimi napenda sana kufuatilia mambo ya Kenya sana. Moja speech zake pia nafuatilia sana. So guys, tupoe. Alikuwa ni moja kiongozi shupavu, kiongozi mpenda watu, na ndio maana pia watu pia wameamka kwenye kifo chake. Sawa? Tumuombe Mungu, hata kama alikuwa na makosa madogo madogo amsamehe tu. Raila Odinga alazwe mahali pema peponi jamani. Na huko anakoenda aende akamsalimie na sisi baba yetu. Maana sisi tulitanguliza baba yetu Magufuli, na Raila Odinga ukifika huko tusalimilie na sisi baba yetu bwana Magufuli.
Na mimi Nuru Okanga nimewachwa kwa mikono mbaya. So mimi kama Nuro Kanga nitaendelea kuongea na Wakenya. Ile siku mnasikia nimeenda pap within 72 hours wenye baba aliandika kwa willing yake, pia mimi nikuwe ninamfuata haraka haraka, sababu Kenya sasa hatujui tuko wapi. So ninaomba tu msimame na hii flag yetu ya Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta amesema baba alikuwa anapenda kutetea justice. Hii flag yetu ya Kenya watu walimwaga damu. Hii flag yetu watu walimwaga damu. Naona venye iko. Watu walimwaga damu kabisa. Naona watu walimwaga damu. Hii flag kabisa ndio hii. Tutetee hii flag na tutetee uongozi mbaya. Vijana tusiogope, kwa sababu baba angeogopa hatungepata demokrasi. Tulipata demokrasi kwa sababu ya baba kutoka nje na kuongea. So maintain amani, peace kwa baba, msifuruge matanga ya baba Raila Odinga.
Yani Raila amekufa, watu wengi wakashtuka. Mbona watu wanaanza kuwa na wasiwasi mwingi hivyo sana juu ya Raila kuaga dunia? Kwani mnadhani nini ita happen? Maisha itakuwa tu fit, maisha itakuwa tu normal kawaida ama ni aje? Lakini hatutasahau mambo za Raila. Lazima tufuate hiyo spirit manzi. Hatuwezi acha ende hivi. Tukuwa vumilivu, tuombe nchi yetu ya Kenya izidi kuwa na amani na upendo. Msitie shaka manzi, mtulie, mambo itakuwa fiti, kila kitu itakuwa okay. Ama ni aje? Mwache ma stress nyingi, mwache wasiwasi mwingi bana. Kama mtu hajatoa machozi kwa mazishi ya baba, she's not a woman, he is not a man. Lazima kila mtu atoe machozi manzi. Hii ni siku yenye hatufai kusahau na hatutawahi sahau Raila Odinga manzi. Manzi, asante sana baba. RIP, rest in peace.